You're listening to the Shared Security Podcast, exploring the trust you put in people, apps, and technology with your host, Tom Eston. In episode 122 for May 25th, 2020, Apple and the U.S. government dispute over law enforcement backdoors in Apple products. Secure messaging app Signal starts to move away from using phone numbers as user IDs, and details on the EasyJet data breach affecting 9 million customers. I just received word that Silent Pocket just added 2 hot new colors, military green and hunter orange, of their popular medium-sized Faraday sleeve, which will fit any size smartphone that you may have. Pick one up today to increase your digital privacy by visiting silentpocket.com, and make sure you use discount code SHAREDSECURITY to receive 15% off your order.
Over 90% of individuals show risky behavior in handling potential phishing messages, according to ClickArmor's free canibefished.com self-assessment. This engaging coronavirus edition of canibefished.com can help identify your team's total vulnerability to phishing attacks that exploit the pandemic situation. So test your own vulnerability to phishing attacks for free now at canibefished.com.
Welcome to the Shared Security Weekly Blaze podcast, where we update you on this week's most important cybersecurity and privacy news. These podcasts are published every Monday and are 15 minutes or less, quickly giving you news that you can use. Last week, the FBI confirmed that back in January, they were finally able to access the iPhone of Mohammed al-Sharmarani, who conducted the mass shooting at the Pensacola, Florida Naval Air Station back in December. The FBI is quoted saying that Apple was effectively no help, and Attorney General William Barr said it was a, quote, great disappointment that Apple refused to help investigators. He went on to say that Apple's decision has dangerous consequences for the public safety and national security and is unacceptable according to his judgment. In response, Apple stated that they did cooperate with the FBI by giving them everything they had about the shooter, including iCloud backups, account information, transaction data, the things that you would expect when a warrant is issued. However, the FBI wanted Apple to unlock and decrypt al-Sharmani's device for them. Apple has stated many times in past situations that they do not have the capability to unlock passcode-protected devices and will not build a law enforcement backdoor into their products. Personally, I like the following quote from Apple in response to Mr. Barr's comments. Quote, "It is because we take our responsibility to national security so seriously that we do not believe in the creation of a backdoor, one which will make every device vulnerable to bad actors who threaten our national security and the data security of our customers. There is no such thing as a backdoor just for the good guys, and the American people do not have to choose between weakening encryption and effective investigations." End quote. In other Apple news, iOS 13.5 was released with the new Exposure Notification API framework, which will support COVID-19 contact tracing apps from public health authorities. The good news is that this new feature comes disabled by default and will only be used if you happen to install a supported contact tracing app. In previous episodes of the show, we've talked about some of the many privacy concerns with contact tracing apps, and it's not Apple's framework that's the problem. It's the government agencies that will have access to all the personal data collected from these apps. To hear my thoughts on contact tracing apps, check out episode 116 of the weekly show. And for more of an in-depth discussion with co-host Scott Wright, check out episode 99 of our monthly show. Popular end-to-end encrypted messaging app Signal has announced a new feature called Signal Pins that will allow users to migrate account data between devices and eventually allow users to move away from using phone numbers as their user ID. While there have not been many privacy concerns about Signal, the fact that you need to still use your phone number for your user ID was a common complaint among privacy advocates. Here's how Signal PIN works. You'll first be asked to create a PIN code associated with your account. The PIN can be anything from a 4-digit number to a complex alphanumeric string. The PIN will then encrypt your profile information, account settings, local contacts, and store this information on Signal servers. No conversation data is ever backed up. So when you lose your phone or move to a new one, you can now easily move your profile data to your new device. Signal notes that it's really important to remember your PIN, as without it, you won't be able to get your profile data back. This is why Signal put a plan in place to remind users to re-enter their PIN at regular and periodic intervals. In addition, Signal PIN can be used as a registration lock of sorts, which can prevent an attacker from registering a victim's phone number on another device. I really like this new update from Signal, and it's a great base for the start of moving away from phone numbers as user identifiers. Do you use Signal? If not, I highly recommend it for secure end-to-end messaging. If you're interested to find out more, check out our show notes for a link on how to get started with Signal. And now a word from our sponsor, Edgewise Networks. The biggest problem in security that remains unsolved are flat networks in cloud and data centers, with unprotected attack paths that allow threats to move laterally to cause data breaches. But microsegmentation using network addresses is complicated and takes too much time. But there's a better approach: Edgewise Zero Trust Auto Segmentation. Edgewise is impossibly simple microsegmentation, delivering results immediately with a security outcome that's provable. At the core of Edgewise Auto Segmentation is Zero Trust Identity, which allows workloads to communicate only after their software identity has been verified. Malicious or unimproved software is no longer allowed to communicate. Identity-based protection provides more coverage with fewer policies to make Edgewise simple to deploy and manage. No changes to the application or network are required. One solution protects virtual machines and containers in the cloud and on-premises. To stop lateral threat movement and prevent breaches, visit edgewise.net for a demo and to see results within minutes. Low-cost British airline EasyJet announced last week that they have been the victim of a highly sophisticated data breach, which exposed about 9 million email addresses and travel details of its customers. EasyJet's official statement also noted that around 2,000 customers also had their credit card details accessed. EasyJet states that there has been no evidence of any compromised personal information that has been misused, and they would like to reassure customers that they, quote, take the safety and security of their information very seriously. EasyJet has said that they will notify affected customers no later than May 26th. EasyJet has also notified the Information Commissioner's Office, or ICO, Britain's data protection agency, and they will continue to investigate the breach to further enhance their security. British-based airlines have not fared well with large data breaches in the past. You may remember that the ICO fined British Airways a record £183 million for the 2018 data breach, in which 380,000 payment cards were compromised. And this is not the best time to have a data breach. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, attackers are capitalizing on data breaches to take advantage of victims through social engineering and phishing-related emails. Often, attackers will spam out emails to millions of people, hoping that they will find just one person who is a victim of this breach. This is why we all need to stay vigilant, even more so during this pandemic, because attackers are not letting up anytime soon. That's a wrap for this week's show. Visit our website, sharedsecurity.net, for previous episodes, links to our social media feeds, our YouTube channel, and to sign up for our email newsletter. First-time listener to the podcast? Please subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And if you like this episode, please share it with friends and colleagues. Thanks for listening, and see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Weekly Blaze.